Today, we are going to look at a topic, concept of linear motion. First, what is motion? Motion is regarded as a change in the position of a body with respect to time. When we are talking about linear motion, we are talking about what? A motion in a straight path. Motion in a straight line is referred to as what? Linear motion. Under the concept of linear motion, there are certain parameters, or what we refer to as quantities, that we must understand, that will aid us in calculation and understanding the concept of what? Motion. One, speed. We are going to look at speed. Speed is the rate of change of distance with respect to time. Speed is the rate of change of distance with respect to time. Speed can be calculated as being equal to distance all over the time taken. So speed is equal to distance all over time taken. The SI unit for speed is meter per second. So we say that the SI unit for speed is meter per second. Speed is regarded as a scalar quantity. What do we mean by scalar quantities? Quantities that have magnitude but no direction. That is speed. Then we are going to look at another quantity which we are also going to define: velocity. Velocity can be defined as the rate of change of displacement with respect to time. So we say that velocity is the rate of change of displacement with respect to time. So we can write velocity as this. So velocity is equal to what? Displacement all over time. The SI unit for measuring velocity is also meter per second, having the same unit as that of what? Speed. So it means that velocity and speed, there's a relationship between them. Velocity is a vector quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity, while speed is what? A scalar quantity. That is just the basic difference. Because you can see that under our linear motion, when we are considering our linear motion, then velocity and speed, they are equal in magnitude. So we say, considering linear motion, we can simply say what? Velocity is equal to what? Speed. Considering linear motion, velocity is equal to speed. Now, why velocity is equal to speed? One is because, what is displacement? Displacement is distance moved in a specified direction. And since we are considering linear motion, all of them are in the same straight line. So both distance and displacement is now equal in what? In magnitude. So you can see now that because we are considering linear motion, our displacement is equal to what? Distance. displacement is equal to distance. Now that we have looked at these two quantities, when we are going into our further calculations, we will now take it that displacement is equal to distance and also velocity is equal to speed. So since velocity is equal to speed, displacement is equal to distance, we can simply say that velocity is speed in a specified direction. Hence, we can also now write velocity as being equal to distance all over time. So distance, we can simply say what? Velocity is equal to what? Distance over time. Velocity is equal to distance over time can also be written as what? Displacement. Displacement over time. So this is basically what velocity and speed is all about. Now, we want to look at some of the concepts under what? Our velocity and speed. Concepts of what? Velocity. Concepts of velocity. What are some of the things that we need to know about velocity or speed? One, we are going to look at our initial velocity. The initial velocity. The symbol we use for initial velocity is U. Two, we have final velocity. The symbol we use for final velocity is V. Then we also have velocity change. Velocity change. Velocity change. Then we are also going to talk about our average velocity. Average velocity. When we are talking about velocity, which also means speed. So we can say initial velocity or initial speed. Final velocity or final speed. We can also say velocity change. And we have what? Average velocity. Then we are also going to talk about our uniform velocity. Uniform velocity. We have the uniform velocity, and last we are going to talk the instantaneous velocity. So these are some of the basic concepts or things we are going to understand about velocity in our quest to understand the concept of what? Linear motion. One, what is initial velocity? The initial velocity of a body in respect to a given motion is the first velocity, or we call it the starting velocity, with respect to what? Two reference points. Two given reference points, or two consecutive what? Reference points. Then we have the final velocity. The final velocity is the terminating velocity or the end velocity of a body in a given what? Motion with regards to what? Two reference points. That is called our final velocity. Then we talk about what? Velocity change. Velocity change is the difference between the final velocity and the initial velocity. Velocity change is the difference between the final velocity and the initial velocity. We can write it as this: velocity change equal to final velocity minus initial velocity. That is our velocity change.